Hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
The DNA results arrived at 9:59 a.m. on the morning my ex-wife was scheduled to walk down the aisle. I was not in the church. I was sitting alone in a narrow oceanfront hotel room in Monterey, California, watching fog roll in thick over the Pacific, like it was trying to erase the horizon. My coffee had gone cold 20 minutes earlier, untouched. My phone lay face down on the desk, vibrating in slow, deliberate pulses. My name is Julian Mercer, 43, crisis management consultant. I make a living predicting collapse before it happens. 3 weeks earlier, I signed away my marriage to Isabella Cross, 36, venture capital executive, meticulous and allergic to disorder. We had spent 15 years building a life in San Diego. Glass walls, curated art, dinner parties with people who measured worth in market value. The divorce lasted 47 minutes. Her parents invited me to their home in La Jolla under the pretense of discussion. Their property overlooked the cliffs, white stone, imported olive trees, silence that felt rehearsed. Inside, her father, Robert Cross, sat perfectly upright. Her mother, Camille Cross, stood by the fireplace holding a glass she never drank from. Their attorney, Victor Lang, waited with a leather portfolio resting on his knee. An envelope slid across the table. $8 million. Signed tonight. No contest, no disclosure. Immediate transfer. Immediate filing. Immediate silence. Isabella didn't look at me. She stood near the balcony doors, ocean behind her like a staged backdrop. "Why the urgency?" I asked. Camille smiled. "Clean transitions protect everyone." Clean. I read every page. The NDA was aggressive. Sweeping language barring discussion of marital, medical, financial, or relational matters, past or present. It wasn't written to protect privacy. It was written to contain fallout. I signed, but only after demanding notarization, courthouse filing that same evening, and wire confirmation before I left the building. They thought I was focused on the money. They didn't understand that speed leaves fingerprints. The funds cleared within the hour. They believed the story had ended. It hadn't even begun. 2 nights later, while packing the last of my belongings from the house that no longer echoed with my footsteps, I found an old medical folder beneath tax documents. 6 years earlier, after a surgical complication, a specialist had sat across from me in a sterile white office and explained probabilities. "Natural conception is unlikely," he'd said carefully. "Not impossible, but statistically rare. Less than 3%. A week after our divorce filing, Isabella announced she was pregnant with twins. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, holding that medical report, staring at the faint indentation where our headboard used to press against the wall. The house smelled like fresh paint, like something already being prepared for someone else. I didn't confront her. I left. Not to run, to see clearly. Distance sharpens patterns. I checked into a small coastal hotel in Monterey where anonymity came standard. Beige carpet, salt air, the constant low hum of the HVAC system like controlled breathing. That's when the email arrived. Prenatal paternity test confirmation. Appointment, Wednesday. Results, Friday, 10 a.m. I wasn't listed as father, but my old shared insurance email was still attached as emergency contact. They were rushing the results, hours before her wedding to Daniel Hart, her firm's senior partner. I forwarded everything to Naomi Reyes, a litigation strategist I trusted more than most people I've loved. Her reply came fast. "They're afraid of timing." Exactly. Friday morning arrived painfully blue, the kind of sky that promises perfect wedding photos. At 10:02 a.m., my phone rang. Camille Cross. Her voice had changed. The silk was gone. There's been a complication. Behind her, I heard movement, raised voices, something heavy knocked over, shoes on marble tile. The results, she continued, carefully choosing each word like it might explode, did not confirm what we expected. I stared at the fog dissolving over the ocean. I see. Daniel's voice broke through in the background, sharp, fractured. The lab screwed up. They don't make that mistake, I said evenly. Silence. Then Isabella. Not composed, not strategic. Cracking. It's not wrong, she whispered. The line went dead. 10 minutes later, Naomi called. They rushed it, didn't they? Yes. Good, she said calmly. Now they're exposed. By noon, social media had gone dark. No more bridal suite photos. No more champagne toasts. No captions about destiny. Silence louder than celebration. Saturday morning, Isabella left a voicemail. They're panicking, she said through tears. Daniel is furious. My parents think we can fix it. Fix it, as if biology were a branding error. That afternoon, an anonymous message arrived. The father isn't a stranger. Seconds later, he's been in the room all along. My chest didn't tighten. It settled. Recognition feels different than shock. Then came the final message. I have audio. Meet tomorrow. Alone. I drove back to San Diego the night before what should have been their honeymoon departure. Not for confrontation, for proximity. I checked into the same courthouse-adjacent hotel where I signed the divorce papers. Same humming air vent. Same neutral art. At 9:58 a.m., my phone lit up again. Camille. You knew, she said, no control left in her voice. Did you know Daniel wasn't the father? I knew enough not to be surprised. Daniel grabbed the phone. This is your fault. You pushed this. No, I corrected quietly. You rushed it. There was shouting in the background. Isabella crying openly now. Not curated, not camera-ready. Then a new voice. Victor Lang, measured, attempting authority. We can resolve this discreetly, Mr. Mercer. You already purchased discretion, I replied. You just miscalculated genetics. Silence. Heavy. Then Isabella again, not composed, not strategic. I didn't do this alone. The words landed like glass shattering. A crash echoed through the line. A man's voice yelling. Not angry. Terrified. Because terror is what arrives when certainty collapses. Victor's voice returned, thin now. This call didn't happen. You should hang up, I said calmly, and I ended it. I didn't feel triumph. I didn't feel revenge. I felt clarity. For weeks they believed money could erase narrative, that speed could outrun truth, that silence could be purchased like furniture. But truth doesn't negotiate. It waits. It gathers weight. And when it arrives, it doesn't knock. My phone buzzed repeatedly on the desk beside me. Missed calls, frantic messages, legal threats disguised as proposals. I turned it face down. Outside, the Pacific moved exactly as it had the day before. Unimpressed, uninvolved, certain. For the first time in months, I understood something completely. They thought they were paying me to disappear. What they really did was remove the only man willing to protect them. and now the room was full of people who knew too much. I stood, walked to the window, and watched the fog lift entirely from the water. The horizon was sharp again, clear. This time, I wasn't the one erased. I was the only one who had seen the storm coming, and I had already stepped out of its path.